Hello, hello, hello. This is Ken here from RD Labs. Hope this is reaching you well. Let's get to it with another one. So it's been a while. I do apologize that I haven't been this consistent in terms of the content. Just been spending time to really build out the whole ecosystem from in terms of RD auditors, RD Labs, RD Ventures. So there's a lot going on. But I do promise I'm going to provide and start coming out and with as much more informative content to really help you with every aspect of your trading. So today, before I start, if the first time you're watching this video, please make sure you click on the link in the description to be able to download this RD Labs DeFi checklist. It's free, so there's no issues. You don't have to spend anything, okay? It's absolutely free. And basically this will help you towards walking you through the process of identifying projects to investing, and then hopefully they'll give you opportunity at a higher rate that you can be able to succeed, right, in terms of return on investment. And also the aim is to mitigate the risks, to mitigate the opportunities of you being rug pulled or you being scammed in the place. For me, I'd rather not enter a trade rather than entering 20 trades and have the opportunity of being rug pulled, right? So meticulous research, due diligence, and taking your time. Why? Because this whole blockchain crypto space is here to stay forever. So do not rush the process. Very important. Do not rush the process. If you don't have high conviction of a project, do not get involved. So anyway, so what's been happening of late, there's been a lot of movement in terms of various blockchain ecosystems that's really coming out from the Solanas of the world. We're seeing a lot with the sidechain, with Polygon, the roll-ups, right? In terms of Arbitrum that basically came out on the mainnet launch, to Optimism that's looking to launch, I think, in July, to Starkware. So there's a lot of interesting ecosystems happening. So today we're going to actually talk about the Solana ecosystem. So just as a disclaimer, RD Labs have a partnership with SolStarter to be able to, as one of the due diligence teams, to vet their projects that will be onboarded and to help them to, really navigate, throughout this whole space of identifying early projects. This is what we do. This is our expertise. Just wanted to give you a quick heads up. So ultimately what you see with Solana, is phenomenal apps being built on the ecosystem. I'm seeing a lot of this decentralized fund, asset management fund protocols. And the reason for that also because there's areas where built in within the Rust code is where it prevents the front running, right? So you can be able to build these decentralized protocols where it literally just evaporates and prevents front running to occur. There's incredibly low costs, right? And you can be able to build up some interesting infrastructures. So what you will see is you'll see a lot of the asset management investment type projects being built. So because this is quite new in terms of this blockchain, it's quite early in terms of projects that's being built on the stack. So what I'll be doing over the next few weeks, the next few months, I'll be really moving towards the Solanas, to Polygon, to the roll-ups in terms of identifying interesting projects that we can really talk about. But what also means is that these projects are very early, so there may not be as much information as possible. So you need to really essentially giving you the small seed that will enable you to be able to take it and run and to be able to do further research. Make sense? Let's get straight to it. So the project we're going to look at today is, this project is called here. So it's called Burnt Finance. So what this is a fully decentralized auction protocol built on Solana. So auctions of the world, as we scroll down here, start limitless auctions. Burnt allows for the creation of English, Dutch, sealed bid, bonding curve, and plethora of other auction formats. So auction formats are extremely interesting. And this was essentially been the pioneer of the whole auction theory of some sort, was a gentleman, it's called they call it the Victory, yes? So the Victory auction was basically created by the Columbian University professor, William Vickery, that literally came out with his views in terms of sealed bid auctions and various auctions. So there's a quite various formats in terms of the auctions and essentially how it works. And I'll be able to provide more links in the description so you can be able to take your time to be able to go through the process. But in terms of the whole crypto space, this is really interesting because you could, for example, if you wanted to be able to say as an aspect of to trade publicly or privately, you can be able to do that between parties within an auction, right? You can also look at if your project, you can be able to look at launching like an ITO, which is like an initial token offering where you can be able to launch, or to be able to invest in a token with like a sealed bid, right? So a sealed bid price, so or like a Dutch auction, yes? Also, we now know with everything that's happening with the emergence of NFTs, you can be able to essentially have a marketplace of NFTs, which enables you to be able to buy or sell rare NFTs, right? Or, within the structure of an auction. So this type of play is really interesting because it's really enabling people to be able to create their own auctions based on the ideas such as what Burnt Finance is essentially doing. So if we scroll down here, it says create unlimited assets. So Burnt provides intuitive interface for minting new assets. These assets can be synthetics, NFTs, as we just mentioned, digital assets. So it can really expand to so many different areas in terms of what you can be able to do in terms of the asset creation based on these particular auctions. So what it's doing here is utilizing Solana's trailblazing speeds of 50,000 TPS transaction per second and near zero transaction fees. So transaction per second speed, fees, so many different interesting value adds that Solana really provides. When you compare it to other ecosystems that's being built. So this is where they are in terms of their website. Seems quite early. Let's just pop along to their Twitter. They have about 12,000 members. And as I'm doing this, I'm always linking this information back to the checklist. So I'm taking a look at their website, clean website, information's not a lot of information in terms of context, but you can tell that it's pretty early. Then I'm going to Telegram, going to Twitter, find out as much. Then I'm going to take a look at the product. Do they have a product? Yes or no? Do they have an MVP? So the lower down they go in terms of the product, the higher conviction I have, because it means that they have something tangible that I can test. But also there's a fine line, because essentially I would like a project that might have something on the testnet. That means that maybe they're very early, so they're really growing, and hopefully I can provide some value in terms of where I believe, and just add my 2 cents, right, in terms of how I can be able to help and take the project to another level. And obviously RD Labs is a community. So I'll go through that. I'll say it was March 2021. That's when it was created, this account. And then I'll start going through information to see what's happening. So they have a host of investors, Alameda Research. So this is Sam, the guys that has that basically built FTX. On obviously, I know that he's invested heavily into Solana. I think it just came out of news of about $450 million Solana's looking to raise. So there's a lot going on in terms of really growing. So I really just scrolled down to look at the information. They're conducting AMAs. So Bernd Bansky is the great misfortune of speaking. Okay, so I'm just looking through the information. I'll then go through some of the AMAs they've done, whether it's audio, whether it's text-based. And then I'll really read through their medium, right? I want to then scroll down to really understand what they're really trying to achieve. So here goes information. There's next two types of auctions in terms of lottery and bonding curve. So what they're saying is characteristics of English and Dutch auctions, who are the most popular auction types supported by Burnt Finance. So they're supporting these auctions. And then also they're really growing and adding more to the stack, which is good. So it shows there's a lot going on in terms of what they're doing. I'd also like to really scroll down and take a look at their GitHub to make sure that there's commits that's taken place. So I'll read through all this information to really gather as much to see, okay, this is what they're trying to achieve. Is there a specific moat? Is there an opportunity whereby they can become a leader in their space? I'll look at who they're competing against, what others are doing, what they're not doing, right? What uniqueness does Burnt Finance have that will separate themselves? So I have all these questions, and I'll relay that and I'll add this information down within the RD Labs checklist. And then ultimately I'm going to have some questions and maybe some concerns, maybe not. And these questions I'll basically go to their Twitter, their Telegram, and I'll ask this, and I'll speak to the CTO, the CEO, whoever that can be able to not ease my concerns, but answer the queries that I have. Does it make sense? Cool. So let's continue. So I'll basically just go through this information to find out what's going on, who's funded the rounds, and look at these previous investors to see which other rounds have, which other projects they've actually invested in, right? So it seems that they have quite a strong team. The ones missing is the RD Ventures. RD Ventures is not there. so hopefully soon that's going to happen, right? Clearly, and as a moat, these are the type of projects that we will be able to obviously vet from the RD Labs aspect and also from Soul Starters perspective, right? So I'll go through this information to see what they're doing. And then I will then pull up, I'm like, okay, cool. So on Discord, then they have Telegram. So they have 4,300 Telegram. I'll start going through the chat. I also like to look through documentation. I would have liked that they would have had a GitHub link because they have Discord, maybe in the documentation. Because I like to see that it should have a GitHub link or any other repo where they can be able to add basically all of their code commits, so one can be able to go through it. And if you take a look at RD Labs, we have information in terms of repositories there, whether it's GitLab, Bitbucket, GitHub, so on and so forth, right? So this is what I would definitely recommend. Add this information, whether it's in documentation, but also add this on your website. It can really help people to navigate that. Really interesting. So I'll go through the protocol. So Burnt gives you more information in terms of the use case. I'm not going to spend time to go through this now, but it shows you user will purchase NFTs on a platform using Burnt, are entitled to enjoy reduced transaction fees. Price will be determined. Fine. So then it goes to information. Then I'll take a look at the governance aspect and at what they're actually proposing, the verification models. So you can see that they've really spent time to go through this. So although if you take a look at their website, it seems quite early, they've really made sure that the documentation process is sound. And this is what I do like. And I'm seeing a lot of the strong projects really having this doc flow, right? So it's not just the website, but there's a doc flow that gives you information that they can add to. So it goes to auction summary in terms of English auction, lottery, bonding curve, Dutch auction, right? And goes to this whole information. So what I would like to see is actually a test run. And this is something I would definitely implore for them, is to have a test run whereby they have like an explainer video on their website. An explainer video on their website could be able to show you an example of what would happen. And what it seems here when I clicked on, let's see if it did it take me to it? Okay, cool. So open up a new tab. So I'd like to see here like an explainer video here, just showing, okay, this is an example of an English auction. There's an example of how it would work within our ecosystem or the lottery and the benefits, right? Because a lot of people may not have time to go through this information, but to be able to show you, right? Cool. So I'm going to go through this. It seems that also the team's not doxed, if I am right, because obviously on their website there's no information here. It gives you more information about who they're backed by. Fine, so it's a anonymous team, which is not a bad thing, but obviously it would give you some more information to really understand in terms of the next step. Because what I have here, there's no information in terms of a roadmap unless it has here in the documentation. So auction summary. So I would like to see a roadmap. There has to be like a roadmap here. The advantage is good. Has to be a roadmap so we can be able to see where are they now, right? Second quarter, what they're going to achieve in the third quarter, the fourth quarter, and what are the steps, in terms of, looking to have a native token and so on and so forth. So anyway, this is just quick overview to let you know what's going on. We're really going to be going through a lot of projects on Solana's ecosystem, on that's what projects are being worked on now on Arbitrum at the moment. I think the launch that will be open for projects will be soon. It's open for developers at the moment. So I'm really, really ecstatic, excited about the whole space and where it's going to. I want everyone to be ready because we're going to take another, let's say, evolution, another chapter in the whole growth of where we are from a community ecosystem, from what we're doing at RD Labs, RD Auditors, RD Ventures, and also really providing as much value. We are going to be the go-to place where projects will come to for content, for information, for where AMAs will be taking place, for being able to collaborations and value added from our community. So a lot going on. If you have any questions, please do not be afraid to ask me. We'll be taking a look at these type of projects, whether we're also interested in investing in these type of projects. So if you have any questions, let me know, and I'll speak to you soon. Let's get it.